things together. I, as a director, think that I can do everything and you go there, you go here, it doesn't work that way. It's we work 2 months, 3 months sometimes on a performance, and every day, 10 hours, 8 hours. And then we realize, yes, things may come to a place. And when you present to the people, then it is a complete act. Till then, it is just hardly 50%, because the other half is not there. So we are imagining when we are making it, we are trying to brew it. It's only when it is served, and then the people say it's good food, it's tasty food, it has healthy ingredients into it. It happens only, that is the feedback why I need community all the time. Engagement with the people, engagement with the children or with artists, that makes the creative act for me more organic and more okay, I enjoy it then. There's a tussle between actor and actor, then spectator and actors, then between public opinion and things like that. That's how it works. It doesn't work with me one way.
I agree with you. I think rehearsal space is like preparing drafts. It's a moment that the audience enters that it becomes a performance. It is a relationship that you have first between the director and the actor and the text, and the scenographer and the costume designer, and then it gets a completion once it is performed. So, and it is about community, as you very rightly mentioned. It is to share, to communicate, to connect.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I think audiences are are one of the most significant others in this relationship. But how do you think, I mean, it's a question that I had put in for later, but since you've brought it out, how do you think audiences have evolved over the decades since both of you have been doing theatre for so many years?
I think there's no such thing as a singular kind of audience. An audience is also made up of many layers of the world that you live in. So some people come because they like the text or the visual language. It's basically, you get multiple interpretations. There is no single way of seeing. But you just hope that somewhere it connects on some level with a very disparate community of people for different reasons. Some see it in terms of the narrative, some in terms of, what they interpret out of a very complex text and a very complex scenario. So there's no single way of looking, just like there is no single interpretation. It's made up of multitudinous singularities, I would say.
You see, you can do play without dialogues even. Body move does everything. You don't need to have dialogue. You can use sound and the body. Empty space is the best space you can work now. We do sets sometimes. But I'll use an example. When Samuel Beckett, everybody knows, wrote his play called Waiting for Godot. It was performed in Paris and it was rejected completely by the so-called elite audiences of the France. This is rubbish. And he was completely crestfallen. It didn't make any sense to them. Then an occasion comes and he takes this play to the inmates of a prison, where the criminals and others. And all 3 hours they were laughing and laughing at every word, because that was the language which elite could not catch, because they were dead on that language. But the language which understood by the criminals, because they are the gut of the society. They are at the fringes of the society. And then it became a great play. Now you can make your conclusions on that. Which play communicates where it does not communicate. It happens to us also. Sometimes we go play from here to Calcutta, and it may create a big audiences. And then goes to Bombay, there's complete silence. Then we will sit together, what went wrong with it? So those things keep happening. That is, but what does the director does when he has some kind of a notion in his mind, this will work and this may not work. And while he's making a complex design and complex texts, he is also making sure that he creates certain windows and ventilators for the entry of the audience mind. Look, I'm talking about this. And then they can get it. So that battle is a very imaginatory area. With the actors you work out, no, maybe this may work, or this symbol may work, or this cloth may work this way. I'll do multiple use of the cloth. We do all kinds of things. But that is where the awareness, social, political, as well as scientific awareness of a director is very important. Is he relevant? Is he in today's world, or is talking of some other world? Is he talking of an ideology which is dead? Is he talking of the messages which have no meaning today? Or he is trying to put up the things what the people are suffering, like Godot example is there. So that is very important, that a director is a torch bearer. He takes a little torch in his hand and says, look, I'm going to light it for you, which you have not seen. Look, this is the reality. He's digging this through these small ventilators, through windows and doors to open the mind and open the imagination of the spectator. So he has to have so much, abstract mind in his head that this will communicate and this will not communicate. And many directors you'll see that sometimes while they have done the show, next show they may say, no, change this line, it's not working here. Instead of do this. Many writers have done, many great writers have done it. It's not only here, all over the world it has been done. But our worry is all the time and concern is, do I communicate? And therefore, all the time, directors have all the time gone to updating their own data in their mind and their brains about the times they live in, the time and space, the politics of the state, politics of the house, of the state, what is happening in various areas, what is religion doing with us, what is not religion doing with us, all these kind of things bother him very much. That's at least my idea of your...
Yeah, that also brings me to, both of you have done a lot of plays around literary texts, literary classics, from Ibsen, Manto, Tagore, Bisham Sani, Shakespeare. So what is on your mind when you revisit these classics? How do you make them then relevant? What goes on in your mind?
Well, I feel when I read a text, I read it in the now. And because I read it in the now, the characters then belong to the now, even if it's a Greek tragedy or a Sanskrit play. And also, the reality is that the actors are speaking today, and the director is also speaking about, let me frame it differently. A classic becomes a classic because it deals with certain issues which are so fundamental to human experience, love, hate, jealousy, betrayal, etc., that the question of contemporaneity ceases to exist. When I read a Jean Racine or a Lorca or a Greek tragedy like Phaedra, for me, the characters have to speak in the now. I don't put them in some kind of past tense, because we are performing to an audience which is physically present. The actors are physically present in the moment. And also I feel that all text is also interpretive. When I take a text, even when I was doing what you call the well-made play, with the beginning, middle, and end, I had a tendency to reassemble, reconstitute, rework the arrangement of the characters and the way the text was developing. But now most of my work is devised, where I take an idea and develop the idea in collaboration with the actors, with the scenographer, with myself, through the imagination. And I think sometimes when you give instructions to an actor and they sometimes go beyond the instructions that you have given, sometimes they show an evolved moment from the text. And sometimes it's very clumsy, but there is one moment which might work. So I pick up all those little pieces and bits like a jigsaw puzzle, and then kind of put it all together in a production. Recently, I did this play in the NST called Lemon Soda, which is to do about Hindi, the fight between Hindi and Urdu. So it was just ideas that we did through a series of improvisations, through a series of exercises, and then I start picking up bits and pieces that have emerged. When I did Hai Vadana recently, which is the Girish Karnad well-known play, even that I reworked it. So I don't really move towards what you call the linearity. You know, it's like Godard says that every film has a beginning and middle and an end, but not always in that order. So I think everybody has their own way of processing work. I'm sure RAINA's is quite special to his way of working, just like mine is to my way of working. And there's no formula. It just develops as you go along and doesn't stay at that place for too long, but changes with each production, but within the paradigms of your imagination.
About the text, whether I take Indian text or the Western text, I have the very fundamental question to me, why am I doing it? Why I want to do it? Obvious reason is that it is relevant to me and my people. And even if it is an ancient text, can I interpret it to the contemporary times? That struggle is always there. Therefore, you manufacture or you develop a hypothesis. I will work on this. For example, I'll give some morning. There was a gentleman who has written a beautiful book on Kurukshetra, and he was giving what Kurukshetra means. It means peace. He was talking about this thing. And I said to myself, without no disrespect to him, for me, Kurukshetra really represents the foul play by the God himself. And that is more relevant to me today because, you know, we are playing with the God, we are playing with all kinds of things. And, you know, that's my interpretation. And I like to carry my actors on that line. And a lot of actors may not like that line. And they will come and go, no, I don't agree with you. So you have a company or the group of actors who think alike. It is not that all diverse brains will get together. Diverse ideas can come together. But if you have a mission that this is what we are going to walk, this is the path we are discussing. I lay a path and in that there will be a lot of discussion. No, we can do this, we can do that. It's not possible, that is possible. And then all of you try to realize that path, that dream together. And then, yes, question, is it relevant to today's audience or not? If it is not, don't do it. There's no point in doing it. I will not do it.
But, you know, this reminds me what RAINA is saying, what Bertolt Brecht said. He said, you know, a play or a production or a performance is like a ship. It has sails. The sails go with the way the wind is blowing. Sometimes you can go with the way the wind is blowing, or sometimes you can go against the way the wind is blowing. But you cannot erase the recognition that winds do exist. So you can go with the winds or go against the winds, but you cannot say that they do not exist. So yes, I think it's very important. Both things can have relevance.
But he said something very interesting also. Brecht said a lot of things.
Yeah, of course.
There's a 4-line poem of his. He said, we're sitting around the coffee table, stretching our legs on the table. This is wrong with the world. Somebody said, that's wrong with the world. He said, no, this should be done. That's wrong. I said to myself, doubt. Doubt. Question. You question all the time. That's theater is all about questioning. We go against the current, and we land in trouble also. People don't like us. People hate us. They don't want us to see our work, or all kinds of hurdles. You have no idea. To doing theater in this country has become very, 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 very difficult now, with the permissions and all kinds of things are there. So it is not only an act of creative and entertaining people or information, it's also a task of going against the tide, against the things.
It's a radical decision to be in theater. It's a radical decision to be in theater by itself.
Yeah, they say that movies make you famous and television makes you rich, but theatre makes you good. So again,
Up to that, I have a ready-made reply
I'm not
for
sure.
you. You can read a book at the at traffic junction. There are books, lot of books, lovely books. But you go to for a good book, go to a library. Books are there then. So you have to make your own choice what you want to do.
yeah. But you were talking of like-minded individuals. Both of you have worked with folk theatre traditions. She's worked with Nakals. More recently, she's even done a Kodiyattam thing in a Manto's play, right?
Done?
You introduced Kodiyattam dance form in
Yeah.
and you've worked with Bhan Pathars. So how do you bring them on the same page, you know, and how is it working with them?
I think these are all part of our collective legacies. They belong to us, just like the modern belongs to us. The past and the traditional forms also belong to us. It's a question of how you claim them and how you dovetail them organically into a production. So I don't think there is a self-conscious desire to put it there as an exotic leitmotif. It's not like that. It happens very, very naturally, and this is what happened, the Kudiyatam interjection in my recent play, I've even forgotten the name, Lemon Soda.
Yeah.
As I said, that my way of working is where I give them a certain idea. What does protest mean to you? What does home mean to you? What does etc., etc. You know, there can be many concepts, you know, conceptual things. What does it mean? And then, how do they develop that idea? And through the development of the idea, I pick up a moment that I feel can be put in the larger framework of the play. It's like, it's a very, what you would call, invisible, it's not a self-conscious kind of journey that you take. It's a journey of trial and error. It's a journey of rejection and acceptance. It is like I have no embarrassment going into a rehearsal space and telling the actors, I have no idea what we're going to do, but let's go on this journey together. And then because most of the work that I do today is collaborative. I think the word director, forgive me, RAINA, has a very male connotation. It seems to suggest maleness. It seems to suggest authority. Because I see a lot of directors tell the actors, this is not what I want. This is not what I need. Turn from right to left. This is where you have to stand. I don't believe in that kind of way. I give a lot of space to the actor to say, you're the Raja of the stage. You're the vehicle. I'm the invisible person sitting in the wings. You have to go out there and express that which is deepest and most private within yourself. Let's dig that. Let's search that. I don't get easily satisfied because I don't want the actor to be easily satisfied. And I've worked with Nakals all my life. You know, for reasons, I think there was a search for a vocabulary which is local, vernacular, regional, because most of the theatre most of us in drama schools were really studying about Stanislavski and Meyerhold and Wachtendorf and Brecht and all that, Western theories, because we had not formulated our own training tools. So then we looked into our own traditional energies and tried to find a way of training the actor. So I think it was a whole journey. The history of modern Indian drama really starts from the point when I think they started this, when NST came up, and then you had the Theatre of Roots. So they're little flagpoles that created this kind of trajectory. I think I've spoken for too long.
Well, you see what happened. There's a little short story to it. When I was a student of National School of Drama, we were being taught Western drama, Indian drama, classical Indian drama. We were only being taught lectures. And if I look back at it, there was a huge, huge weight of colonialism in our education. The best is English theatre, best is the Western theatre. And at one point I remember I got scolding in my Sanskrit drama teacher told me. I said, she was teaching me about Swapna Vasavdatta and how Vasavdatta will enter the stage, etc. She did some dance movement. So I just said, I was cheeky in fact. I said, how do you know, madam? It is many thousands of years back. How do you know this was like that? So I got a yelling. But the point was, that was the year when we started thinking about what is Indian theatre. We cannot build our pyramid of India's contemporary theatre on the skeletons of the Western colonial form, the way they write play, because there is a huge, huge, huge treasures of traditional Indian theatre in the countryside which we don't look at. It was supposed to be folky, backward, वो गाली देते हैं, तो पता नहीं वो क्या करते हैं. But none of us would that time there was no decoding of that. How do they use space? How do they improvise right there and then for 3 hours they can go on making their audience laugh, cry. And there are forms and forms of this across the landscape of India. I mean, this is the rare country, I think, after African country, which has a regional national schools of drama. Kashmir has its own, Punjab has its own. You call them folk theatre, folk forms, traditional, but they are training places. The way they train their musicians, the way they train their actors, the way they train them dance. And that actor is not an actor like a Western actor. Western actor is a paralyzed actor. This actor, which I call an Asian or Indian actor, is multidisciplinary actor. He can dance, he can sing, he can play music, he's an acrobat, he can make costumes, and he can do a set. And he acts. Now, this kind of combination is not in West. That compartmentalized there. You are a singing actor or dance actor, you are this actor or that actor. Now, this knowledge was not coming to the main directors. So, most of us went to villages. She goes to Nakals, I go to Bands, Garand goes to Yakshigan, Habib Tanvir goes to Nacha actors, and we bring the different dramaturgy and the form together. That is why the collaboration, there it is very difficult to collaborate with them, because you have to come to a level of this. Don't think they're backward. Don't think they're unintelligent. Don't think they're less talented than you. But you have to come out of your colonial hangouts and your contemporary education. You have to come really down and kneel down before them and get to their level, and you will see how they will tackle the most complex psychological, political, or whatever theme in their own way. But that is the way. That is what we have been doing in the...
But I mean, I've seen with the Nakals, they can lampoon the powers that be, they ad-lib, they make political comments, and they can also sell birth control pills, so they are performers and they are social analysts. But I would like to make a little diversion here, because when I joined the National School of Drama, which was maybe a year or two later after you graduated, at that time I think that consciousness had already come into drama schools. 73.
70
where we had Yakshagana by Shivaram Karant.
Yeah.
We did a kabuki play with Sozo, Shok.
No. Actually, before that happened something remarkable.
Then we did Rich Katek, which
No. That's much later. Before that, two things happened. Jasma Odin production, which was the landmark, which was like a Greek tragedy.
Absolutely.
I was one of those guinea pig actors in that. We were the first actors to Then after that came Habib's Agra Bazaar and came Ghasinam Kotwal in 71.
Yeah.
That gave the confidence to all the directors. No, we also have to unlearn and now learn something different.
Yeah.
Mr. RAINA, you can share.
I'm not professor.
No, you can share the story that you often tell about how you did King Lear, and actually the Bans made a suggestion of the change of gender.
No, I think that for that there is a book. Please read. It's quite a long story. Is 1 month went only for 12 hours a day to make the working script. Then 3 months in laying the whole design of it. It was quite tough, but yes, there were two things, which was what I learned from these actors. When they were looking at King Lear, first they rejected the script completely. There is no drama in it. There is no drama. What is King Lear? Kya hai? Gradually we started talking. I started talking and talking. Something clicked. And they said, this is a story of any village where the eldest goes the mad and the disaster will happen. Or it can be a story of any village of a country. And then Kashmir was suffering terrorism, and we were doing during the time and stone pelting things were happening. And that time there was this little dialogue about going around. Kashmir should be broken to 3 pieces, Jammu, Kashmir, and Ladakh. And they could see that what will do this, division do to the people. And that is how we started. It was, through the dialogue, discourse came from them. And they led me into more ideas. And then we went from there, because they are almost Sufis, all of them, all actors. And how they got into the Sufi mode of it at the end of it when he was himself crazy. He says that he has lost everything. He Sufi ban gaya ab. The question, it doesn't matter to him what. Objects, everything is gone. So it is a long journey, but yes, I learned quite a bit from them, to be very honest. They teach you because there is a great knowledge of centuries with them, which they have their own language. They can't speak it the way I speak. So if you understand their lines and how they speak and how you have to understand them, what they mean by this or that. I'll give you an example. There was this, who's music? Kahan se aa raha hai?
Shadi ho rahi hai.
Balle. So, at one point, I had a master Shehnai player. He's called Sornai. Great player. And I used to listen to him every evening. Ghulam Rasool Net, let's go together 1 hour. And one day I asked him, what does the Shehnai mean to you? He said in Kashmiri, which meant, आग से निकली हुई नाई is pipe, खाक से निकली हुई pipe, पानी से निकली हुई पाइप, धूल से निकली हुई पाइप, and then he did pipe, नाई. So wow, what a definition. ये कहाँ से मिली तुम्हें? He laughed and then said, Maulana Rumi, in his Masnavi, he's an illiterate, unlettered. In his Masnavi he has said this. So you better learn from it. And I really thought he's pulling on me, and then I looked at it and it was there. So how do they get these informations? Is quite a different world altogether, completely different world.
But theatre has been religious, it has been ritualistic, it has been social, political. What do you think?
Volume बढ़ा दो तो मदर जरा please. Volume बढ़ा दो थोड़ा सा.
Yeah, I know that's true. You got the question. Shall I repeat the question? Yeah. Theatre has been ritualistic, religious, social, political. But what do you think it is today?
To me it is हद टपे तो औलिया बेहद टपे तो पीर हद बेहद दोनों टपे उसका नाम फकीर. Our journey is that. I don't believe in that of this religion, that. I should be I have no boundaries. I can't confine myself because every day is a new surprise.
Neelam, would you like to say?
Well, I think the genesis of all theatre was ritual. When you take the Greek theatre, or you even take from the Natya Shastra, the fight between the Asuryas and the gods. So the base was that. In Greek theatre, it was about democracy as well, where people came and discussed their problems. It was like a mini parliament. But as he very rightly said, theatre is this and that also. So it encompasses many layers of how we experience life. from the ritual to the ritualistic, from the social to the political to the human. It's really about exploring your own essential humanity.
I tell you one word I'd like to add to it. She mentioned Nati Shastra. I love that book. Because Brahma, they say Brahma gave this book to us. He had to give it to something to people, to Bharata, so that he can make a drama for the gods. And he took from, they call it Natya Veda. But he said the last thing he told them, but remember, this is for every caste.
Yeah.
So no Brahman, no can take a monopoly on it. I think he was the best Democrat. He could knew that what will happen to it if I don't give this license out. That's why, if at all today in post-independent India, you see the folk theatre which is there, as I said, in all states, it is today under the custody and the preservation and the nurtured by the lower castes, not by the other castes. So that.
So I've been asked to wind up the session. I think we've overstepped the time limit. But one last question to Mr. RAINA. Your book is called Before I Forget.
Yes.
But what do you think as a nation we need to not forget?
Not forget that we are a diverse country. We're a country from the very first day. There was no nation till 1948 as India we see today. Don't forget the sacrifice of people we got together, those people who made it today. Every citizen today has to defend the idea of India which is diverse, complex, and still we have to live together, not to isolate one from the other and make one to fight against other and manipulate people in the name of religion, faith, or caste. That's
Okay, that's a good note to end on. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
बहुत ही खूबसूरत सत्र जिसका आनंद आप ले रहे थे आपके सामने। और इसके बाद अगला जो हमारा सेशन है इकोज ऑफ 1984 लॉस सर्वाइवल, मनमोहन सिंह जी